Good morning, actually let me restate that. Good evening, boys and girls. This is Kosala, also known as Marventus. It is dark outside, it's absolutely very clearly evening, it's not morning at all. In fact, I've been up for hours. And I had this very interesting bunch of games today. Today was a day when I lost quite a few games. And I actually lost to cheeses almost exclusively. There is, of course, the Protoss canon wall-in cheese that is done quite a lot by Protoss players these days, I've noticed, in the Bronze League. So here I am showing you how I managed to circumvent the canon wall-in cheese. I'm starting here in the left middle position as the red Zerg, and in the bottom left position as the teal Protoss we have Mr. Lapinu the teal Protoss. Now, I took my drone at 10 supply, and I went out looking for his base, as indeed one does. In the meantime, I'm droning up over here to 12 of 18 supply, and then I get my gas and my spawning pool as per usual. In the meantime, his probe is off looking for me as well, and we actually managed to head off to exactly the same place. Imagine that. So we meet each other there. It takes me a little while to notice that that's the case, and then I continue my search onwards. In the meantime, my overlord has actually come down here and spotted this left corner. So I immediately start moving back out again, because I'm preparing here for a Nidus worm sort of rush in, which I try to do quite early on to disrupt the economies of my opponents that don't watch their corners. Now, in the meantime, of course, my drone over here has noticed that the base is here, but I also noticed that his probe went looking around in this direction, and once he's checked over there, he already knows that I'm not there. So you notice I'm not returning home with my drone. I'm just hanging out here in the left corner doing my little look around here as well, and I meet the probe on the way, and he sees me as well, and we're both looking for each other. Now at this point, I actually don't move my probe from here. In fact, I keep him there. Just on the off chance the Protoss is trying to do something funky, I decide not to build my second base at my natural expansion, but instead plop it up here, where he has already scouted, knows that there's nothing there, and might be fooled into believing that I've got no way to counter beyond what's on my first base. This is a strategy that wound up saving my bacon, as you will see in just a moment, because what happens here, he came to scout here, noticed where I was, and then moved to the corner of the map. And I totally missed this because I was being a complete nublet and forgot to follow that probe to see where he was going. So I completely missed this. And he wound up building a pylon there, and I even catch sight of him with my overlord, and I still didn't catch the cannon or the pylon that he popped down there, which is really unforgivable. I mean, it's just utterly horrendously bad. I caught it much too late, as you'll see. But in the meantime, at 18 supply, I have plopped down my first expansion over here in the north corner, and right now he's got no idea that it's there. And let's see what he's up to. He has popped down a pylon, gotten a couple of zealots, and is now working on his forge, as indeed he should, because he is going to cannon wall me all the way across here, as you'll see. And this is just a funny game, that's why I wanted to cast this. Under normal circumstances, I may have been monumentally screwed, and I certainly was caught out by this once, which is why I was glad I actually caught it in time to do something about it. See, here goes his pylon, and I really should have been taking these Zerglings and running them out over here and keeping an eye on what the hell is going on, and of course I haven't done that at all. I'm being lazy, hanging out here, working on my droning, gassing and whatnot else. So this was really sloppy play on my part, and just out of sheer fluke I decided to head out in this direction with the Zerglings and catch sight of this as it happens in a little bit of a while. But if you see right now, I am still totally clueless. I see nothing. Now, in the meantime, all kinds of stuff is going on over here. Mr. Lapinu has gotten his second gas, his forge is up and running, his gateway is out, and he's chrono boosting some zealots and some probes. And in the meantime, over here, we've got now 2 cannons up and running. And when this cannon goes down, I should finally see it. There it is. I saw it and then tried to attack and then got caught out by the cannon. Now I can see that he's actually going for a full wall-in. So instead of panicking here. I hunker in here and I build up my defenses and I just keep motoring on my economy. And over here is now my base where things happen. So it's important that this stays hidden, and thankfully it stayed hidden the entire game. That completely saved my bacon. Right, now let's get a production tab up, because this is when things start to get interesting. Right, I get 2 spine crawlers up, because I know I'm going to be expecting some tough times, and I stick up a roach warren in order to boost up my defense. Because eventually he's going to come in here and take a look at what I've got. So now we are at minute marker 7. This turns out to be quite an elaborate game, and the only reason it became an elaborate game is because he refused to GG. We'll get to that in just a second too. So now I've got 4 spine crawlers up and waiting to see what's going to be coming my way. Got some zealots poking in here. They got taken down by the spine crawler and the zerglings. I got that spine crawler up just in time, as you can see. And so far I'm out of range of his cannon wallet. So things are okay. That cannon gonna be cancelled in a second. I almost lost my queen there because she went off on a bit of an auto-attacking fun. Actually, I took down that cannon. There you go. So now we've got 4 spine crawlers up and running, 1 badly damaged, and we've got a fully motoring economy here. 2 lines fine. Gas is filled up. And over here, the queen is just going to lava up and get the economy going over there, so we can maintain a good economic lead. At this point, he's on 1 base, and I know that he's on 1 base because he spent so many resources on these cannons. He can't possibly have had enough to make any serious amount of units or any other bases. Now, that's the good thing about the cannon wall in, because you know if the Protoss player is going to wall you in with this many cannons, he is utilizing all the gas and all the minerals he's pumping out for this and nothing else. Now, why on earth he walled in this corner instead of walling in that corner, I do not know. But there you go. He's decided to do it this way, and he's spending a galactic amount of resources getting that done. So he's got a few more stuff on the way here, cybernetics core on the way. I am putting out my Nidus worm and a bunch of roaches, still staying hunkered down in this area. So I have a Nidus network going up back here now, but out of the way of everyone else, where I will hopefully be popping in some zerglings over here to harass his mineral line. In the meantime, saturation here starting to pick up, and I'm working on my droning, or have been working on my droning. At this point, my gas count is looking good. My mineral count is being heavily used up in different defensive maneuvers. Some roaches have come out, and I'm basically macroing up, waiting to see what he's gonna do and respond accordingly. Keeping in mind that this main base, which he thinks is my only base, I'm using just for the purposes of defense and macro. And this base I will be using for offense, and the idea is to tech up to Spire, get some neutralists up as fast as possible and harass away, while simultaneously harassing with the Nidus network and Zerglings. So I've got a first bunch of Zerglings now in my Nidus network waiting to be deployed, waiting for a few more Zerglings to be pulled out. I've got 14 more on the way, and he's got 6 more cannons coming out. Look at this cannon wall in. I mean, it's insane. It's 2 lines worth of cannons plus more on the way. I mean, just think of the mineral and gas resource usage that went into this, and all he's got is that. If he had spent all of this money on creating zealots, I would have been dead at this point. Instead, there we are. My Spire now starting to build. 9 more drones on the way at the expansion. Right, and this is now staying quite undetected and safe for the meantime. 2 gases going up there now as well, and we have zealots starting to look at the front base. My Nidus network is at this point going up because I saw his zealots moving away, so this was the right time for it. It got detected by a probe. That made no difference whatsoever because that probe can't do anything to it. And this forces that zealot group to come running back because he has no other units. So now my Zerglings are in the base, creating some havoc. He does manage to get the majority of his Zerglings out of the way. Sorry, his probes out of the way. Now, one thing I do need to do in these situations is learn to micro this Zergling rush much better, because I could have done this much better and taken out some pylons instead, and halted this production even further. However, the mineral damage is nicely done. We have zealots coming in now. Question is, what does one do at this point? The answer is run away, because we certainly can't keep up with a bunch of zealots. I'm just running. The speedlings are much faster, so they're able to keep up ahead. Running around the back here and taking out a pylon again, but nonetheless, oh, didn't take out that pylon. Yeah, all the probes have moved out. So the probes are now hanging down here, so I start making my way down the base, down the ramp. I'm getting metabolic boost up now as well. Oh, they aren't speedlings yet, they're just zerglings, I just realized. And doing more economic damage to them right here. Let's see if we get a few probe kills. We do not. They managed to get the probes out of the way in time, and the zerglings are now making a run back. Staying well clear of this hidden base, as indeed one must. So, let's take a look at this. In the meantime, droning has gone pretty well. Economy's sound. It's all about creating the units now. So the next step is to get those mutalisks out. Zerglings are coming in and are going to park themselves in the back over here in wait for a time when they are needed. In the meantime, the zealots have headed back to the main base. My Nidus network has been taken down, but my initial foray has indeed been successful. My first 3 mutalisks are now on the way, keeping in mind that he still thinks that I've only got 1 base because he didn't scout anywhere else and he got in here so early. He has no reason to believe whatsoever that I used my scouting drone to set up anything anywhere. So I am currently safe. Got a reasonable amount of roaches up there to show him that I'm actually doing some activity. And in the meantime, I'm just waiting for my mutalisks to come out. So, let's see how we're doing on the mutalisk front. They should be out any moment now. And we have a little foray of zealots coming up, which I spy with my zerglings. So in they come, and now they've just been transformed to speedlings. Taking out those zealots, adding even more damage to their army. To his army, rather. And there goes 5 zealots worth of minerals. And over here, his production is now back in swing. Let's see what we got here, if I can actually select a probe, which seems difficult at this point. We've got an entire command group's worth of probes, and I have my zerglings patrolling the 2 towers in order to make sure I can see what's going on. Right, what's going on over here? In the meantime, 18 more zerglings on its way out. And we have some mutalisks on the field now. Now, Void Rays about to come out. Well, not Void Rays, but rather Stargates. And just in time, I've got my Mutalisk army here heading out to make sure that doesn't happen. Because at this point, I know that he's going to be creating air units. Since he's got the wall in steady, there's no way I'm getting out of that. And he spent his huge amount of minerals there. So it's really, now is the earliest time he could have made any kind of effort in bringing any air units to play. So my Mutalisks are out just in time. Now this will come as a shocking surprise to him because of course he cannot see a spire anywhere in my base. And let's see how our mutas do. Here they come in for the initial foray. They spy the mineral line and they go nuts in it. Now he's got no cannons in the base to save him because and I see the starports just in time. And I start taking those out instead of the probes because that's vastly more important that nothing comes out of there. In the meantime, he's got absolutely no defense for this whatsoever because he's got nothing that can shoot air. I was not expecting Mutalisks at all. And it is what it is. So here we've got 1 starport about to go down. The second one will follow directly afterwards. And a cannon has now finally arrived. But nonetheless, that starport is going to be headed down. Now in the meantime, he manages to warp in a Void Ray, or put out a Void Ray, but that 1 Void Ray is going to do absolutely nothing against this large pack of mutas, and I've got 4 more on the way. Now he's finally starting to get a Stalker out, because he's seeing that he needs to. A little good microing here has kept most of my mutas alive, and out of the way of that Void Ray from charging up to full. That goes down, and now he has no more ability to get anti-air units aside from the cannons and that one Stalker. So damage done, onwards to the mineral line, a few of those taken out as well, and we're good to go. So he's got all of his probes hanging out here. Let's see what his mineral count looks like. He's running out of minerals, he's running out of gas. Mutalisks doing a top-notch job, and now heading out of the way. Now the question is what to do in this point. Now in general, I would assume that most players, now we're at the 20-minute mark almost, would probably have GG'd out of here. Now this being a Bronze League match and one being up against all kinds of interesting people in these games, the next 10 minutes of this game is virtually completely useless because he has lost. There's no way for him to come out a winner on this one. It's time for another Nidus network to go up and cause some more havoc down here. So I'm going to put a Nidus out here and plop out some more Zerglings and the roaches that I've accumulated over here and go nuts once again on this base and take it out because the mutas have done what they was set out to do. So here we go. Nidus coming out. There will be some Zerglings first, followed by some roaches. Speedlings rather. Speedlings running right for this pylon, which is where I directed them. The probes getting out of the way, as indeed they should, and running off somewhere else. And in the meantime, I've got my roaches coming out here next. And the probes are now doing a tour over here to see if they can set up a base somewhere else. A wise maneuver, which I missed completely, but I have my muters standing by over there to come in and finish this off when they're done. A few probes getting caught out here by Zerglings, and so far they still haven't seen my base over here, which is absolutely excellent. So we have a few probes hanging out of the gold expansion, we have a few probes hanging out here at another expansion waiting to see what he can do. He's only got 60 minerals, he can't do anything at this point. He's not gathering money anywhere, and my roaches are completely decimating the base. So at this point, I've won. There's absolutely no way in heaven he's ever going to manage to do anything with this. So let's watch this carnage for a little while. Muters coming in now to take out the stalkers. Roaches coming in to take out the cannon. And that is pretty much all she wrote. Our buddy over here still hasn't GG'd. Lapinu has decided to sit around and wait it out. So now I actually have to go and destroy every single one of these cannons in order to win the game. I mean, what a nublet. He absolutely refuses to GG out of this game. Alright, so I've got no choice but to destroy all of those. So I was just sitting there thinking, what is the best way to do this? Well, I didn't want to sacrifice a huge amount of units by getting this done. So I popped out a few more roaches as base defense out here, since I got no units whatsoever in case I need to have some surprises coming in and bugging me. But I decided to tech up to a hive, get the spire up to greater, get out some broodlords, and then finish this off. Took me about 10 minutes to sort that out. But in general, game is more or less over at this point. I'm sending all of my, or several units to every corner of the map to make sure that I've got a sight over what's going on. And it doesn't take me long to spy this bunch of people hanging out there, bunch of probes. And my Zerglings are doing their pathing across the main of the map to keep an eye on what's going on there. So now comes the laborious task of trying to figure out what to do here. Now it took me a little, as you can see, no production going on. I'm sitting here trying to figure out how do I take out these cannons in an intelligent way. I could have Baneling busted them, but it would have taken a hell of a long time, so I decided to just do it the easy way, tech up to a hive, which is about to happen right now, and then move on from there to finish up the game. So I'm going to speed ahead a little bit because the next 5 or 6 minutes are really largely completely pointless. Moving on, waiting for the corruptors to show up so that we can finish this along. I'm still amazed that Lapinu over here didn't GG out of this. I can't imagine what he was expecting was going to happen. But if he just didn't do anything. But absolutely refused. There you go. Here we are now, Greater Spire almost starting to finish in the top left corner, as you can see. And we will have corruptors heading out any moment now, and oh, actually they've already come out. And they're now being morphed into broodlords over here. And I will bring those in and finish off this cannon wall, whatever it is, in just the next couple of minutes. And here we go. As you can imagine, this is the end of that. So boys and girls, keep in mind, when playing against Protoss, watch out for that probe and make sure he's not doing some sort of proxy pylon somewhere. That scouting drone is really damn useful if you utilize him in a hatchery building somewhere away from your normal base, as long as it isn't scouted. If it is scouted, of course, it's toast, but there is some gain for the risk involved. There you go, folks. Thank you for watching. More to come later on. The comments below, of course, and any tactics that you might have for the proxy pylon is welcome, including links to videos and whatnot else. Ta-ta!